This is a video showing how to add a tow pack and a wiring harness to a Land Rover LR3. I have a 2007 Land Rover LR3. I'm living in Abu Dhabi, and this is the car I bought. I bought it second hand. It's been a great car. Everything seems to be working. It's in very good condition, and yeah, so I wanted to add a tow pack so that I could tow a boat. So I've gone on, looked around on the internet, found out the parts that I need to purchase, and this is going to be a step-by-step guide on how to do that. To start with, we go to the back of the car and we look at this plastic sheet here, and under that you can see that you slide a tow pack up in under there. Now, I've taken off the plastic cover at the front. It's two simple plastic screws that you just turn and pull it off, and you can see there's where the pieces of metal go, and you can see there are two gaps for where the actual wiring goes. So the car comes pre-drilled with these gaps. Okay, so I wanted to put a new tow ball on the bottom of the car. If I purchased the original Land Rover tow ball that goes up and into that slot at the bottom, then it was about €500 to get it, and that's having it delivered to the house in Italy. If I tried to have one delivered from the UK to here in the UAE, it was about €500, whereas this company, Atlantic British, which is based in the US, they have an aftermarket tow ball kit which ended up costing about €350, then plus the shipping to get it over here, it still ended up just under €500. Plus this kit has the ability to change the size of the tow ball, and it has the full wiring harness for the lights as well. And you can see on the first part of the video I showed you, there's no wiring harness for the lights. So to buy the whole kit from Atlantic British was cheaper. To buy it in the US, have it shipped here, it all works, and it has the wiring harness, and I can change the tow ball size. So this was a good deal, and I'm just going to show you how we put it all together. Now, we start with this light here. The wiring is going to go in through this light, and there are two screws that need to be undone. There's one at the top there, and there's one down the bottom there that needs to be undone. So I'm just going to unscrew those screws first. Right, top one, pretty easy. Bottom one down here, very easy. I'm just going to lean on this so that the light doesn't fall out, the lens doesn't fall out. Okay, so after you've undone the screws, then the light lens just need to jiggle a little bit and pull it out, and then you get to here, and there's a connector here that connects up your lights. You disconnect that connector, and then we're going to wire the new lights through here. The new harness will go through that hole there, and I'll show you in the back inside the car as well of how you connect that. Okay, so if we go inside the car, there's a panel here, and if you just open this panel down and come around there, you can see that there are some wiring harnesses here, right? So I'll just try and pull them down a bit for you to see. There they are, those wiring harnesses. Now, one of those harnesses, we're going to plug the lights in that run, plug the power in that runs down to the lights down the back. Now, I'll get them out so you can see them, and then I'll show you the actual wiring harness and how we run it down through the car. I've just popped that little black grommet thing, I've just popped it off the inside of the car where it was poking, and it leaves this connection. Now, this is the connector that goes to the harness that comes in the British Atlantic kit to do our lights. Now, you can check your wire color, you can check your end connector to make sure that it connects correctly, and we're going to run that down through the car there to that plastic grommet, and then the new connector has new plastic stoppers on it, so you'll see how that goes. Okay, so I've disconnected the two grey connectors here. Now, they've got a little black sort of grommet thing on them holding off. I just popped those off. There are two there that have nothing attached to them. All right, so they're just connected to the car. There's a third one in there that is wired up. That's your lights to your car, so you don't want to pop that off. You want to find, there's one here, and then as you go further back, there's a second one, and these are these two connectors, and these two connectors will fit up to the wiring harness. Now, I'll show you the wiring harness laid out so you can work out how it works. Okay, in the pack that comes from the company, you get the instructions about the trailer wiring, which also has lots of pictures, which is fantastic, and you also get the instructions about the hitch itself. Now if we look at the parts that come with it, this is the wiring that comes with it. That's the wiring harness section with some screws and tape and stuff like that. These bits are part of the actual hitch. So you get a ball, which is what I said, you can change the ball size, which I think is fantastic depending on what you're towing. All of the screws, all the hardware you need. This part of the hitch, which actually slides up into the car this way, which then gives you the square end, and then you can put this hitch in with whatever tow ball you want on it. So the whole kit is complete and it has everything sort of in here. Now let's have a look at the ends here. These are the two ends that are going to plug in, and then there's a ground as well. Now the ground, if we look at the car, come around and you ground it on this screw right here. So you need to unscrew this, you're going to ground it on there, plug the two cords in, run it down and run it through this section here of rubber. Now on the piece that comes from the company, you'll see there's the inside and the outside section of the rubber, so that once you get it in, it covers the gap like that and it's sealed in place. Now to put it in, you disconnect them from here, so we're only working on this section here that goes through to there, and this section I'll do in the next section of the video. So here you can see I've disconnected those from the other part of the harness, and I've just got this bit. So that's the section that we're going to put in now. Now we come over to the outside of the car. This is the outside of the car. Move the wires out of the way, stick your screwdriver in, and essentially just pop this piece of rubber off, and it comes out pretty easily. And that's where the outside one's going to go. Now I'm going to do the same on the inside. Pop the piece of rubber off, poke the hose, the wiring through, and then down here, this section of the bumper here, this is where the wiring goes down here. Okay, once you get inside the car, these have temporary heads on them. So you press the little button, and you can see this one's got a white clip on the side. You press the button, oops, just get the good angle, and pop that off. And you can see on the side, it's got a little white section. So when you grab your wiring harness, you grab the one with the white section on the side, line it up, and click it in. Now the same on the other one. You can see it has orange harness on the side. We unclick that. There's a little button here, you press that button, unclick that and pull it off, and that section comes out. Now you get the other orange one, have a look at that, line it up, slide it on and click it into place. It's really simple. Remember, you have to get this white wire, you have to put it on the nut around there. You're gonna do it that way, and then you get your screw and you screw that on tight. Then we poke this in through the hole that's there. We can do 2 wires at a time. I'm going to try and do it over my shoulder. Okay, and as you poke that through, you want to grab it from the other side and pull it out the other side. Come around here, Ads. And you can see I pull the wires out through the other side. Now we're going to do the rubber clip as well and put the rubber clip in here. I'll show you that in a moment. So here you can see I've attached the 2 clips. I've attached the white earthing wire, and if you can see carefully down here, in there, I've attached the rubber seal. The rubber seal is really malleable, so it's easy to put into position. You just need to play with it and it clicks into position. Now if I come outside of the car and get to here, you can see the same thing. The rubber clip is really easy to just push in and just seal into position. The wires come down here. I'm going to poke them down there and then attach them when I do the bottom part of the car. Now at this stage, that's it for the for this light section. So I can hook this back up to the lights, close that off, and I can screw this back into place so the lights are done. Now I'm not going to do that yet because I want to make sure that I can plug this in carefully first, but really we're finished in this section of the car. Okay, so if you have a look at the actual hole inside here, we're in the bumper bar now. It's a round hole with a sort of a button edge off to the right hand side, sort of an extra cutout off to the right hand side. Now if you have a look at the wiring harness, it's a round hole with extra wires off to one side. So you're going to make sure when you put it in, it goes in this way so that those wires go through that hole there. Now what you do is you thread the wires in straight through. There's a hole at the back as well that it goes through. So you thread those 2 wires in, grab your other hand at the back and just pull them down. And you can pull them down along under the back of the car. They button up with these clips up further into the car, but at this stage I'm just going to pull it through. Now when you get to this section, you have to wiggle it a little bit. For me, I have to go up one way or either a long way down the other way first to get it through. You do need to jiggle it. So I'm just going to jiggle this one, get it in and show you, and then there we go. So that's in, and then you pull it into a nice firm place. Now there are 4 holes in here that line up with the 4 holes in the car. The kit comes with the correct bolts to put in there to do that. With the wiring harness, I'm going to run this along under the car, push it up through and connect the right connector. The square one is the square one, the sort of oval rectangle one into the oval rectangle one. Then I'm going to use these clips and push them into the actual bumper bar chassis at the back. There's 2 holes that you can clip them into that'll hold them in place. It's also got this sheath over the outside so that it's protected from the weather, from roads, stones, cracks, whatever. And then it's got the wires. So the kit's a really good kit like that. I'm going to start screwing this in, then I'll come back to the video. I'm underneath the car here, and you can see this is where the wire has come through, and I've tucked it in under the bumper, not under on the outside, but in through this section here. There's a plastic section here that can go in through, and it comes out here, right at this section here, and then we're going to turn around and poke that up. Okay, so you can see I've clicked these 2 together. Now what I did is I stuck one hand, I sat on the ground, stuck one hand up underneath, and then the other one, and pushed upward, and then the other one here and pushed downward, and clicked the 2 cords in, and made sure that this little flap here and that little flap there clicked over the little bump that was there, so make sure it holds it in position. Now under the car, you could either run it completely on the outside of the bumper, but there's actually a little plastic passage that you can put the cord through the plastic passage and then pop it up, and that way the wire never is actually hanging out under the car. It's actually in this bumper. It stays inside there, so it never hangs down. Right, all I've got left to do is plug the lights back in and screw the lights back on, and then I'm going to bolt in the connector down below. Then this section of the car is finished. Okay, so in the kit that it comes with, there's also these 4 screws, and therefore bolting it in under the car, and there are cable ties as well, and the cable ties are for cable tying up that wire underneath. Like I said, I poked it in through the plastic bumper bar all the way along, but where there's any section that might be hanging out, I'm going to go through and cable tie in as well. Okay, so here we are with the final product. I've screwed those 4 screws in. As you can see on this side, there are holes there that are pre-drilled with a thread on the inside. So it's the same on this side, right? So I've got that in. And now there are 2 connectors. There's this one that connects there, and then there's actually a different connector that you could connect there as well. So depending on which one you need or how you need them, you've got the 2 different connectors. And then underneath here, this is where the toe ball section slides up into, and we put a bolt through there, and we put a bolt through there to hold it into place. Then you're going to have a square channel coming out here, and we can slide the square channel in. I'm going to show you that in the next part of the video. Right, so this part here, this part here slides up into the section underneath, and you just slide it up into place and align these 2 gaps with the 2 holes that are in under here. There's also on the back of it a 3rd hole with a thread already in there that you need to get in and put a bolt in through the back. Now, you might have to remove your spare tyre to get that bolt in. And all you do is push it up in. There's a little silver bolt that comes in the pack that bolts into the back of that, and then these 2 just bolt up into here. So that's how that works. I'll show you that on when it's finished. Okay, so you can see that this is the toe section attached. You can see that the toe nuts look a little bit red. It's got some Loctite on it, which just tightens in those nuts to make sure that they're stuck and they won't come undone. So that's that. Now the next section is to put the bar in here and put the ball on, and then you can screw it down in tight here. Don't use Loctite in here, because if you want to remove the bar, you don't want it to be glued in there, right? So that's that section done. Remember, if your car has it, there's a hole up the back, up there. I don't know if you can see that. There's a hole up the back there that you can put one more screw in just to hold it into place. Okay, these are the final pieces to the puzzle. Obviously, you've got the bolt that goes through this section here and holds the main piece of the black thing in place with a split pin on it. You also have a screw that goes in the top to stop it rattling. So once you've got it in place, you screw that down firmly and that'll stop it rattling. And then you have the tow ball. So this is the tow ball that came with it for mine. You can change the tow ball. That's the beauty of this system. Now, with this, I remove this when I'm not using it, right? So I don't want other people to steal my tow ball. So my car actually stays like that, and I leave this section locked in the back of the car. And then when I need it, I can just slide that in, right? And I make sure I've got the right tow ball for whatever it is I'm towing. So what I'll do is put it together, show you the final product, and then that's it. The final product, you can see it's got the pin in holding it in position. It's got the screw here to stop it rattling. It's got the main section in, and then the tow ball that you can change the size. Obviously, it's as easy as pull the pin out, pull the main thick pin out, undo the tightener for the rattle, and then pull this out and put it away in your car somewhere and leave it like that. And also take this out, right? So you probably could leave this in, but why risk it, right? So I'm taking that out. So that's how I'm going to leave the car. And then when I want to tow, I put it all back in again. It takes about 2 minutes, right? So that's it. That's how it all works. You've got the clip that goes over the back here. Flathead screwdriver does it up at the back, and we're ready to start towing. Just finally, I want to say that I have no affiliation with this Atlantic British company, but the parts were fantastic. The shipping was really quick, and I'm really happy with the final product. So if you're looking for aftermarket parts that deliver quickly with a great price, then this is a good company to use. You can find them online at roverparts.com. So good luck. I hope this has helped.